Here we go. Here we go. It's that time again. What is that auto increase to that size? It's troubling. Okay, so it auto increases. That'll be need to be addressed at some point. All right, in any case, looks like we are good to go here. Good morning, everybody. It's another beautiful morning, although it's very dark out for me right now, but hopefully you're all doing well. Good morning, Larry. Good morning. Brand new week. Hopefully I can be on my A game a bit better. Hopefully the sizing issue won't be as prevalent. I'm confident it will at least be a little better, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's still issues. Optimistic, but also open-minded issues. Good morning, DeWald. Good morning. Hope you all had a good weekend. And hopefully we'll get some momentum today. It looks like EVTV is moving, but it is a lower price stock, so not going to touch it. Yes, BDSX, that was what I was looking at. Yes, that one looks like the main stock in play. This one is spiking here at the top of the hour. Looks like it has news, but at the same time, I really wouldn't want to mess with it. Interesting top of the hour, we have a pretty big pullback. So this looks like it's just an earnings report, from what I can tell. Float seems a bit lower. The stock has been on quite a downtrend. Is this all the history? No. See, this stock doesn't seem like it's a true death spiral, but it is also not a very well-performing company, by the looks of it. Right, in 1 year it's lost 80% of its value. I mean, that is close to death spiral territory, actually. See, I need to be very cautious with this. But yeah, it looks like the revenue increased, and that seems to be the main point. NCEL had a little bit of a pop. Good morning, Skavon. Good morning. So, nice little pop here. We do have news on this. Crazy daily chart. Just this thing sold off like crazy. It looks like a short squeeze or something. And then it just sold off more. And now we had a squeeze up to 270. It's not actually that crazy of a breakout. Seems like clear daily resistance here. Around the 270 area. Yeah, but with news on this, could be something to it. Shares, pretty low float by the looks of it on Thinkorswim. Let's see. Spread's pretty wide. Okay, it's tightening a little bit, but there was about a 5-10 cent spread there. Doesn't look like it's super thick on the level, too. This aligns with the low float that Thinkorswim is reporting. Does seem to be a sizable order at 270, and that order did move down to 265. It's at 264 now. It's only for 4,000 shares, though, so it's nothing too crazy. Yeah, we're getting very high volume here, too. Around the 260s. See if this resolves into anything. I don't think I'm going to touch it here. Although this does look at least interesting around this level. BDSX continuing to bleed a little bit. Went from $8 down to about $7.20. Pretty big decline, but it was on higher volume. This is continuing to see very high volume coming in from here. Much higher than the relative volume. Well, we'll see how this resolves here. We've got the 1 minute high. So significant volume came through here, 270 down to 250. So pretty big rug on this if anyone was trying to buy the 1 minute high here. High volume as well. Not very great to see. Though I will take a stab here. This next breakdown was on low volume. See if we can recapture 250 here. Let's see if we get the break of 250. There is a 1,000 share order at 250 itself. Another breakdown, but again, it was on low volume. So that's 2 pushes down on low volume. Good morning, Dangan. Wow. Okay. Really surprised to see that kind of pull. 224. That's crazy. After seeing 2 pops down on low volume to see that kind of pull. Rough. Yeah, I'm gonna cut it here. Yeah, too much downward pressure. That's crazy. Even on this is still a low volume push. So up here around, what was it, the 270s, there was a smaller order, and that order was being moved down, but it looked like a smaller order. So that threw me off. I thought that it would be overtaken. Anyone who tried to buy this 1 minute high got absolutely creamed here. 277 all the way down to 224. One quick move in 4 minutes. Very rough. Not a great start to Monday. I'll tell you that. Good morning, Alex. Hope you're doing well. Let's see here. Seven. I would give it a B+. Like, it was a good setup. I'm really just surprised. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it was because it was too early in the move. That would be the only real thing I would hold against it. But no, it looked clean to me. I'm surprised that it did that hard of a rejection on low volume. Very interesting. Is what it is. In case you guys are wondering, I am using 10% exposure at the moment. Yeah, this is crazy. I mean, maybe the news catalyst was just bad, right? This comes out across as good, but if it's actually bad, then maybe that just can justify it. But it's very interesting to see we had high volume here. Yet even on all of this volume was much lower. Very interesting. I suppose maybe the one red flag would be these two candles were low volume. Maybe that detracts from this. I think that could be a fair argument, actually. All right, well, just gotta keep our wits about us and try and keep going. so rough too. Like just a complete failure. If you guys are enjoying losing me lose money, hit the like button. Help get this out to more people. I would appreciate it. I wasn't even in that trade too long. I was in there for 2 minutes, so it wasn't a long hold. I am glad I respected my rule of getting out at the correct sizing. $28 is basically the full loss of that trade, but at least I was able to identify it this time and actually adhere to getting out when I was supposed to. I think I need to really just be patient from here, though, because other than BDSX and NCEL, nothing else is really moving at the moment. And since NCEL had a huge rejection, people might be afraid to jump on the next thing that moves. Good morning, Tristan. What about EVTV? I mean, to me, it's a lower price. I don't really want to mess with it because of that. I did watch it. It had a nice spike here. And you're right to call that out. To me, it's just too cheap to touch, though. Yeah, I was really holding here for a break of 250. I had 249 several times, so I could have sold for like 5-cent profit to take some of the risk off. But on the flip side, I bought so close to the bottom during this pop down, and the volume was low. The relative volume was low, so it felt correct to hold. Maybe you could argue because this volume was so high, perhaps this makes this a little bit riskier to buy into. Right, if this volume was lower, maybe both of these do detract from it. This being high volume on this first breakdown, combined with the fact that these two candles were lower volume on this initial pop, maybe both of those do detract from it. I thought it was a B plus quality, but maybe this is actually closer to a B or B minus. I'll at least lower it to a B. All right, getting in here during this breakdown here looks like a great entry from this period, from this point. Catching this and then seeing it go back to 249. Looked like I was in a good spot. But considering this high volume, considering how this popped up on low volume, those are detractors, and I did not acknowledge them. Fair enough. Starting the morning slightly red too. Very glad we had the with the loss I took. Oh. Hey, I mean, reality is you're gonna lose sometimes. Biggest thing is make sure you follow the rules. Make sure you're adhering to whatever you're trying to do. I do think I incorrectly assessed this trade when getting in it. I was a little too bullish. I could have still maybe tried to take it. This would have been, I mean, realistically, the only possible entry that would have been profitable would have been buying here and trying to catch this bounce. But the fact that I missed identifying these 2 points shows me slipping a little bit. But I'm happy that I at least cut the trade when I did. So I would have been, worst case, I would have lost another 7 cents. Be like roughly another $14 loss on top of this. Yeah, this thing is just getting beaten up. Maybe the news just sucked on it and it just looked good. Yeah, this thing just completely rolled over. I didn't really want to touch this because when this was going down, this was lower or higher volume at the time than over here. EVTV is still continuing to move. Like I said, I'm not interested in touching this one, but yeah. You bought the red candle before it only went down. Yeah, I think a lot of people were looking for that 1 minute pullback setup on it. Right, I was looking at it from the daily. 270 looked like resistance. It appears that it held as resistance here too. You did have this break above 270, but it couldn't hold above it. And like I said, I saw orders to sell in the level 2, but they looked like smaller orders, right? 1,500. I think it was 1,500 shares. But I was watching in the level 2, that order was getting laddered down, and it was the same order. So that could have just been a hidden order that was appearing as a smaller order. Okay, so you traded BDSX. Yeah, that one, I mean, right at 7, that thing just basically collapsed. Yeah, so anyone really trying to trade to the long side at 7 probably had a rough time. I mean, to be fair, if you traded EVTV, you wouldn't be having a rough time. But like, for the 2 higher price stocks, you would have struggled a bit. Or probably would have struggled. Well, we'll see if we get anything at the half hour here, but considering nothing else is moving, we're also just going to be playing the sit and watch approach here. Having resistance at 80. Yeah, it seems like around the 78 level there's some kind of ceiling, but it could just be natural sellers trying to take profit. This is up. What is this up? This is up like 60, 80% or something crazy. Oh, on the daily. Yeah. You had this gap, plus you had to move up and touch it, then reject hard from it. Yeah, 80 is a clear resistance level. Yeah, I see that. No, that's a valid point. My apologies if I'm not talking very much. It's just there's not a lot moving right now. On top of that, still a bit bummed about how I played that last trade. Ever so slightly salty. Yeah, in hindsight, had I identified these two issues, probably better would have been to take half size, given the lower quality setup, or just avoid the trade. Realistically, though, I could see me of taking half size here. Shake it off. What if I don't want to shake it off? No, you're right. And I'm not gonna let it affect me for the next one. I just need to know that next time we see a stock popping, need to make sure I'm checking all my angles. I do appreciate it though, Wiz. All right, 1 minute till the half hour. Let's see if we get anything worth looking at. We need a new ANPA this week. Sitting on my hands for now. Yeah, sitting on your hands is smart, considering this was one of the few stocks that popped and it died immediately. And violently too, right? I would say this is a pretty violent death. Realistically, I would say these first 3 minutes were the actual death period. Going from 270 to 220 in 3 minutes is a pretty drastic rejection. Right? Even though I was a little aggressive on this entry, my entry still wasn't actually that terrible, just from a logical perspective. Dropping 30 cents in 2 minutes is generally pretty extreme. Good morning, Marcel. Good morning, good morning. Well, good morning to you. Maybe not so much a good morning for me. It's so crazy, too, when you cut a trade and you see it continue to bleed down like this. The fact that I would have lost like another 7 to 10 cents is kind of crazy to me. Because you feel like you're selling at the worst time when you sell for the loss. And then when you see the stock continue to bleed, it's just like, how? How does this keep bleeding? Sometimes we just need to fight that urge to hold. Good morning, Avter. Good morning. See if we get anything on the scanners. Currently, it's all cold. I gotta wake up. I have fallen asleep with how slow it is. Four minutes in, not seeing anything at the half hour. Unfortunately, it's looking like it just might be a really cold day. was hoping it would be better because it was Monday, but maybe this is just how it is. Well, as I say that, it looks like we do have something. It's TKL. Okay, so this popped up, but it's super, super low volume. We do have news at the half hour. It provides update ahead of the conference. So they're raising their outlook. I mean, if they're raising their outlook, that should be bullish in nature. Very high float, though. And you can even see that in the price action on the daily. It seems to move slower in general. So it looks like they had a bad last quarter. Apparently they had really bad results, really bad projections, because this stock just crashed hard. It seems like now they're revising that. Do you have any insight why the EVTV isn't moving more? Seems like the news is great. Well, I mean, to be fair, this thing is already up, like, I mean, to be fair, it peaked what? It peaked up around 80%, so 80% move is already pretty crazy. Just in general, though, I would say if a stock is a penny stock like this, you should immediately assume that it is likely there's something fundamentally wrong with the company. So even if they put out good news, odds are there was a reason why it is 80 cents a share, or 40 cents a share in this case. But anyway, let me see what the news is. Receives $100 million worth of government purchase orders. No, that's a solid news catalyst. Totally. And I mean, this thing went up like 80% on that news. I feel like that's justifiable. But as to why it isn't moving up more, it can be hard to say exactly how much it should move up on this kind of news. The only thing I would assume is that news is very strong, so it should move up. And yeah, like, saying why did the stock only move up 80% is... I don't know, that seems like a... I think the 80% move is already kind of pricing it in. Whether, like, if you wanted to know exactly how much it should move up based off of this, you'd want to look into the actual balance sheet. You would want to look at the price to book ratios, try and find a fair value, you know, more fundamental analysis kind of stuff, if you wanted to find out the actual amount it should move. But the fact that it went up 80% already, I feel like that's already totally a reasonable response, in my unprofessional opinion. Yeah, I don't know if I trust getting involved with this. Saying they revised their outlook and this thing, I mean, it's gone up like 60 cents on relatively low volume. Feels kind of dangerous to mess with this one. LYRA, what the heck happened with this one? So this thing just kind of gapped down on 6,000 shares. It gapped down from 380 to 130. What the heck? Pretty low float. What is this stock? Washington, Massachusetts. It's a therapeutic company. Okay, so at 7:30 is whenever the drop happened. So they halted it pending news at 6:55. So maybe they just put out really bad news. It decided to suspend further development of some drug they were working on. Also announced workforce reduction. Yeah, I mean, that just sounds really bad. Yeah, it makes sense why this would drop on that news. I'm surprised, honestly, that it's bounced this much, all things considered. Yeah, stock is not in great shape. Yeah, I probably don't touch this one. This one could probably go crazy in either direction. I'm talking like a 50-cent swing, dollar swing. I wouldn't want to mess with it. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think I'm just sitting tight here. I don't want to get involved with this. This volume's way too low. Nothing else is moving that looks interesting to me. I mean, LYRA is interesting, but given the news catalyst is so extreme, and given how much this is ranging, I wouldn't trust this for any kind of bounce here. Right, even this is like a 40-cent drop. It's very interesting that it's moving like this on light volume, but realistically, this is such a negative catalyst, it's hard for me to really interpret the justification, or not justification, the impact from it. Throw out a little poll while we're waiting here. See what others are interpreting from this. Yeah, very, very high majority, no. Oh, it's only an 8-vote sample size. That's pretty low. I'll go ahead and leave the pool open for a little bit here. But yeah, it's is what it is. Yeah, more volume coming through here. I don't know, like, logically, if they're suspending their drug testing and they're reducing their workforce, to me that's like a complete bust, really. It's the same as the drug failing. So, like, to me, this should be dropping like 80%, 70, 80%. The fact that it's only down maybe like 40%, I feel like this should logically drop a lot more. The fact that we saw this gap down, then bounce up on no volume is very strange. Nice bull flag from STKL, but volume is just non-existent. I don't trust it at all. Okay, we got 17 votes now. Much higher sample size. Yeah, 82% of you not trading. I'm not surprised. INBS. You need to make at least $1 per share to justify the risk. Popping up, but 30 to 40 cent spread. It's a pretty big spread. What is the price? It's 25 bucks. I guess it makes a little more sense. The spread would be higher. Yeah, I'm seeing a 30, roughly a 20 to 30 cent spread. Yeah, you'd need like 50 cents to $1. Unless you were trying to cross the spread, or you were trying to buy across it. Yeah, this one is mostly off my radar, probably because the volume's lighter and it's a much higher price stock. There's no news on this either. They just kind of just randomly popped from 21 to 40. Yeah. STKL still continuing to grind higher. I still do stand by the catalyst is strong on this, but on the same token, just the lack of volatility, or the lack of volume, is a deal breaker. Cold, yeah. It's super cold, man. This is not fun. is still pushing back at the lows. Curious how this is going to play out. Man, I should have stayed in bed. I don't know what's up. I just feel super tired today. I just do not feel awake. Slept for like 10 hours last night. It's so weird. JHEX back above VWAP, very thickly traded. Take a look at it just for the heck of it. Yeah, I can see even just from this bar coding, this thing is very thick. Oh yeah, no, yeah, the level 2 is absolutely stacked. No, this isn't worth touching. Lower price, very thick. Very rough. I'm still not surprised this is slowly bleeding. I still think that LYRA should logically go down to like 150. I don't want to try and buy the bottom on this though. Thing is with therapeutic stocks, whenever they fail or they do drastic things like just suspend the experiment and cut their workforce, I've seen them lose 90%. Like, the amount that these stocks can bleed after those kind of announcements is catastrophically bad. So even though this is only down 50% or whatever, to me, it's just, it could go down another 40%. If there was some sort of volume play I could make, I would be more interested. But the volume this whole time has been pretty light, so I just don't see any real edge for me getting involved with this one. No need to go deep red today. Probably won't be able to recover. Keeping it light today. Keeping it tight today. Yeah. I mean, I could still recover. I would probably need 2 full-size winners. Well, 1 full-size winner would basically make me break even. Right, I would make like 20 bucks on a full-size winner. So I would need like 1.5 winners. 1.5 R. So yeah, odds, I wouldn't say that's impossible. If we see momentum pick up at 8 o'clock and I get 2 trades, it's totally recoverable. But I would say probably like a 75 to 80% chance I'm red today. Does that seem fair? And I'm not going to avoid taking a trade out of fear of taking a loss. If I see something that looks good, then you should engage with it, of course. But I do agree that I need to do a better job, because my first trade today was not clean. Or rather, my assessment. The trade itself, once you're in the trade, you're kind of at the mercy of the market. But the one thing you do have control of is your assessment. And that is where I fell short today. The market just punished me for my poor assessment. At least that's how I interpret it. It could be just because I'm tired. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just feel so out of it. I feel so sluggish. Oh yeah, we got 5 minutes till the top of the hour. Fingers crossed we find something. I do appreciate you looking out for me though, Bobby, by the way. I'm not just trying to be an a-hole, you know. But I'm pretty far from max loss on the day. I'm not super worried about taking a larger loss. Once you go green, you'll get your energy back. I mean, it could just because the market's dead right now. The fact that I feel like I'm watching paint dry, and we've been here for almost an hour. I mean, we look at the trade I took. I took this trade at 7:07. It's been about 49 minutes of just me sitting here. So, guess I can't be surprised that I'm getting bored. Come on, 8 a.m. news. Yeah. We'll see. I haven't ruled out. We've had days, even relatively recently, we've had days where it was cold from 7 to 7:30. 8 o'clock, we had multiple news catalysts come out. Come on, 8 o'clock. Let's see what we got. We can do another poll while we're waiting. EVTV retested 80. I could watch that real quick while we're waiting. Yeah, this one's still moving strong. Again, this has a good catalyst, right? Anytime there's some kind of contract or award for any kind of project, then typically that's going to have a good result. Okay, so it seems like people are pretty pessimistic right now. There's a couple optimistic people. I personally would say it's basically a coin flip if we're going to see news or not. Still, I'll take 50% odds we see movement over 100% chance of just not. Yeah, 50-50, roughly 50-50. Whoa, we have an inversion. Now people are saying, yes, we're going to see a move. I still think there's a decent chance we'll see a move. You didn't give us the coin flip option. Oh, you're so right, man. I'm so sorry. I should have said coin flip. You're right. All right, we're at top of the hour. Let's see what we get. I'm hoping I get another chance to prove myself. I'm not even worried. I'm not even worried about if I make money or not. I just want to show myself that I can assess a stock properly. To me, that's more important. Not seeing anything yet. OPAD had a pretty big rug. What was his secondary offering? Yep. Secondary offering, direct offering. All right, what price? 10 million shares, 180. Yeah, this thing's gonna get crushed. Yeah. Look at ATRA, ouch. Ooh, whoa, is this another secondary? What the heck? Provides regulatory and business update. They must have said something bad. God dang. Okay, what is this? FDA is unable to approve. Yep, this thing's gonna go down. FDA unapproved. It's tempting to want to buy something this far down, but again, same issue. This could easily drop 90%. I mean, I say 90%, that's really the high end, but still. EVTV. Really impressive move on it. And yeah, it could have just been the case that this was just needing to consolidate. There was someone who was selling here. Totally reasonable. Thing is it's hard to say how high it'll go up. This could have very well have been the top. Volume is continuing to increase as well. I'm still going to stick with what I said, though. I don't want to touch this one. Really, OPAD would be the only one I would watch. And that's if it drops well below the offering price, right? 180 is the offering price. So I would be curious to see it drop below that. Way below that, right? I mean, you could have maybe bought here, but that's just, you're literally buying in the first minute of a massive rug. Being able to assess it that quickly is pretty hard. OSRH. Take a look at it. This one's pretty cheap too. It's right at $1. 25 million. Considering it's a cheaper stock, 25 million isn't actually terrible. Daily kind of sucks. I hate these cheap stocks, yeah. Suck at trading them. Yeah, I statistically do not do well with sub $1 stocks either. Mm. Right? For the 1 minute high to break through $1 just to reject down to 90 cents too. It's so hard to tell. Yeah, I'm probably not going to touch this one either. It's just too cheap. This is an okay news catalyst, by the way. It might just be a dodge bullet kind of day. Pretty crazy bounce on this too, right? It's had a low of $6 basically. Went up to $8.70. So $270 bounce. This is a very crazy bounce. I suppose this could be one to look into. Like, we would need this to break through this and go a good bit. Maybe to like $4. There's very high volume here, though. That's concerning. Jeez, another higher volume here. GNPX. So this is getting some volume. No news. Lower float. Lower float. Volume. No news. Also, relatively recently, it's curled up. It's not ideal either. This could be the top before we just roll over and do the next leg down. It is true it's a technical breakout, right? You had this high here, you're breaking out of it. So it could just be a technical setup. I am concerned though. This has gone from 220 to 250 on essentially no volume. The volume's coming in here at the very top. Why don't you use the traditional colors in volume and green candles? No RVOL here. Yeah, no relative volume. Yep, you're right. Jesus, man. It's actually only a 20-cent drop. It just looks really bad, but still not pretty to look at that. So for the volume, I find that red and green candles distract me, like in terms of the actual volume candles. I find white to be more unbiased. I'm merely looking at how much volume was on the candle, not whether the candle was green or red. And then I can actually look up here to actually see if the price went up or down. Also, for the reason why these are hollow green candles and not filled green candles, it is more of just like a psychological thing, just to avoid FOMO. Less full green candles makes it look less tempting. That one's more just psychological, but yeah. That's my reasoning behind those two things. ATRA, very, very high volume came through here, and now we're just still holding at this level. I suspect we're going to see another leg down. Realistically, what are we down right now? 14 to 6. So you're down like 60% or so. Yeah, this could go as low as 2. I'm kidding. I'm not even kidding. This could go as low as 2. Did you find a fix for the Webull huge volume bar at the tops of the hours? Yes, I did. I switched to Thinkorswim charts. Yeah, I tried removing the volume. I tried using volume profiles. I want to see this volume at the bottom. I want to be able to look at it like this. The volume profile on the side was interesting, but to me, I feel like having them at the bottom so I can line up directly which candle did which is borderline more important than the volume profile. But yeah, I could not find out a clear way to get rid of them, so I just stopped using the Webull charts. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. Yeah. Realistically, the only place I'd probably want to buy this would be around probably like 360. So this would have to drop like another 50% for me to be interested. Yeah, even BDSX, right from the moment it's 7 a.m., this is just bled down nonstop. No bounce at all. Yeah, not a great day for momentum, it seems. At least not for the first half of this session. This is probably the best stock we've had, at least in terms of movement. But the volume's been non-existent, and this is really only up about 20%, 15%. So it's not even like a crazy move. Pretty big bear flag here. Surprised this hasn't broken. Seems like the penny stocks get all the attention when the markets is slow. Yeah, it can go that way sometimes. I mean, EVTV is kind of an exception because it actually has legitimately good news behind it. And for a penny stock to get legitimately good news is a big deal. So I would say that EVTV isn't necessarily... You shouldn't look at EVTV as kind of, this is what happens when the market's slow. This was just an instance, really, where there was a bad penny stock that had good news. Yeah, so this one broke above 1, but just couldn't hold above it. Seems like we're having some pretty high volume here on this selling pressure too. I don't like it. And before we go all the way back down. And I was willing to engage if we saw opportunity, but like right now, I'm not even seeing any opportunity. Some volume here, but same issue. We creeped up on no volume. This does have news at the top of the hour, though. And this news isn't bad. But unfortunately, it looks like I missed the main start of this move. And even then, the volume isn't crazy high. Look at the shares on this. Oh, and it's 100 million. Okay, yeah, that's not great. Yeah. I guess I'm just sitting back, waiting for the half hour. Looking like a potential one trade day. Genuinely surprised how this stock is performing. You just have this huge floor here. Oh, looks like we finally have a new low. $5.60, $5.50s. $5.40s. $5.30s. Jeez. 20s. Looks like whoever was buying here has stopped buying. Now 4. Odds I get hit are low, but I'll throw out an order here. I'm aiming for high 3s. I doubt I'm going to get a sudden spike down, though. But in the event I do. Yeah, we have high volume 2 on the selling pressure, so I needed to come down more before it's safe to get in anyway. Interesting that it pushed all the way to 5. Right, 4 minutes till the half hour. Still not expecting to get filled on ATRA. I'm over $1.50 from my entry. I wonder if there's a correlation between how slow the market is and how many times I yawn during a stream. Okay, potential second push down from $5 here. I see that with JAGX, yeah. No trade for EVTV, was it too cheap? Yeah, it's just too cheap for me. Didn't want to engage with it. Take a look at JAGX real quick. Yeah, so same issue in my opinion. No news. This moved up on lighter volume. Up at the top, you're seeing the heavy volume. Looks like it could be topping and rolling over. Granted, this is the high, so there's a technical setup, but it looks more like a dump to me. Fingers crossed for news. Fingers crossed. I am losing hope at an exponential rate, though. I was a little optimistic. I thought it was like a coin flip at 8 o'clock. Now I am even less optimistic. ATRA continuing to decline. I'm still interested in this just because of how this held up here. So there was clearly either short covering or someone buying at this level. So this is kind of interesting to me. However, I still think it's too dangerous to buy at this price. It needs to be lower. EBTV holding above $1 now. Impressive move on it regardless. But I just really don't want to touch this one. Yeah, JHGX looks like it might be rallying back. I still don't really trust this one, given how this inclined on low volume. But it is certainly interesting that it has made a bit of a recovery here. Even this one's kind of cheaper, though. We're not really seeing many $2 plus stocks moving. Yeah, it's looking like nothing at 8:30. It's one of those days. Okay, I've yawned like 8 times now. This is getting ridiculous. This is so many yawns. Oh, and I'll take a look at it. Ooh, hello. We actually have something. All right. All right. Let's see. Q4 revenue, 28.9 million versus 26. So looks like they had a beat on revenue. See, this is mostly an earnings play. Float's a little bit higher, but nothing too crazy. Worth keeping in mind, these first two candles were pretty light volume. Not super light, but fairly light relative to this. Right. Looks like there was some kind of selling pressure at 35. Nasty 1 minute candle, yeah. Did break through that 35 area. Then came back to it. I'm cautious to want to get involved with this. Float is a bit higher. And this headline, the earnings is not really shown. We see the revenue, but not really the actual earnings. Right, like the net income. I'm not finding it immediately. A little bit of a red flag that that's not openly available. Topping tail's killing it for me. Yeah, I'm a little bit iffy about whether to be involved with this one. So we had the 1 minute high. Could be failing. It's not dead yet, but people could be getting trapped. $576 back to $540, yeah. So this break down to 520 was on low volume and it did recover. But I'm still not sure if I trust it. JAGX looks like it's getting hammered. Yeah. A lot of noise in this one. Right, we have topping tails here. Clearly some kind of hold is trying to be made here at the 520s. The fact that you bounce so hard off of 520 back up to 550 is interesting. Might just be breaking through though. Given that this spiked up on low volume, I'm not super convinced that this is going to hold. If this does end up reverting back down, anybody who was shorting up here would be rewarded. Good morning, Budhey Trader. Good morning. The one thing I suppose does have going for it is this is earnings, so if the actual earnings were good, then it would justify the move. Hmm. It is nice to see this much volume coming through here. Yeah, it was mostly slow this morning. We had EVTV that moved. Pretty big move. It moved like 100% or so, but it was a penny stock, so didn't touch it. Got caught in part of the rug for NCEL. Bit of a mistake on my part, though, with assessing that stock, so the blame lies mostly with me on that. Again, very high volume here. We're seeing continued volume around the same level. Looks organized. Even this is very consistent volume flow. I suspect it's not random. Maybe someone intentionally diluting. I don't know. Someone bigger is involved. That's the only thing I can really conclude. It's hard to say if they're diluting or doing something else. Level 2 is getting a bit thicker. Really nice volume came through here, but still did not break through this level. At least in a meaningful way. Oh. Is it going to now? I think I'm just going to sit tight on this one. Still find it odd that we had huge volume on this candle and we haven't immediately resolved from it. That like, guys, I have to keep him motivated when it's slow. It is what it is, you know. I do appreciate you guys who are sticking around here, even though it's so slow, but... And we are having some moves, right? Like, OM is clearly, like, uptrending. And we had EVTV this morning. But a lot of other stocks just aren't really moving. And I don't really like how this one's playing out. It was a higher float, which is already a little bit off. This volume profile was very strange, the way it came through. We had huge volume here, and it didn't resolve in anything. I mean, it could be the case that someone's just trying to fake people out, and this will move. It just seems kind of strange the way this is structured. Like, it's very intentional. Coming up on the top of the hour too here. We'll see how this plays out. I still kind of stand by that I don't want to get involved here. If this looks like it's being controlled, I think it's unwise for me to get in. Even if it does look strong. For some reason, I'm just expecting a massive volume candle any minute now. Hmm. It's really just hovering in that 579, 580 range. MACD negative now, so could give a nasty false breakout. It just seems so strange to me that you have this consolidation here. Massive volume came through this key area. This key area breaks on huge volume. Then you kind of go up and just barely break through the high, and then you don't really resolve. Hmm. Oof. Push down to 550. 30-cent drop in 1 minute. Yeah, this looks like the highest volume candle too. We'll see. Like I said, I still feel like someone is playing with this, given this very clear volume distribution, and given how this broke through with huge volume. There is a chance this could still curl. My only assessment is that someone big is clearly playing with it. So whether this is a true breakdown and failure or if someone's playing with it, I'm not really sure. But all I know is I don't really want to be involved with it. In any case, I'm glad I didn't buy here. We got 3 minutes till the top of the hour too, so looking like it's going to be a one trade day. Like before, I will stay 5 minutes after 9, see if we get anything that comes up. Yeah, let's see if this actually curls and then goes to new highs. I still haven't ruled out that this is going to curl back up. This by itself would have been a deal breaker. I would think that the move is over. But given the way this stock has been acting with this weird volume and price action, makes me question how real this push down actually was. Now we're going to see an actual break now that this happened. All right, we're at top of the hour. I'll go ahead and give it 5 minutes before I potentially wrap up here. Still only one trade on the day. Currently down about $28. JAGX had a pretty big spike here. It does have news. Enters into U.S. license agreement with future pack for crofelemer, providing up to $38 million. Interesting how this had news. Interesting how this had all this price action and then this news comes out. It's almost like someone knew about it. Almost like someone knew about it, accumulated, and dumped as soon as the news came out. Hmm. Very, very brutal for anyone who bought up here. And I still don't think I buy here either. What do I use for breaking news? I'm using Bazinga. It comes with Thinkorswim. It is free. OM, pretty big move here. Yeah, so this was a fake out. Yeah. It's really consolidating around that 630 area. Very nice breakout on that. Hmm. Pretty big move too. 220s up to 270s. It's like a 50-cent move. Yeah, I'm thinking about wrapping it up here for the day. Unfortunately, only one trade, and it was a full-size loss on it, but yeah. Ever since this morning, for the next, like, I'll say maybe 1.5 hours, it was pretty cold. OM moved, and it's had some nice resolution, but I just didn't trust it enough to get involved. Given how much I was down already, I needed to be more careful with my entries. So yeah, I think that's it from me. I'll go ahead and end it here. If you're still trading, be careful out there. I will